as you mature and grow spiritually, do you find yourself having a deeper understanding of the teachings of Emperor Haile Selassie?
100%. 100%. Like, so observing the king, after having read certain things, it make you realize, say, yeah, man, His Majesty did up on the highest level. It's like, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And it's funny because even when they interviewed His Majesty and asked him about how the Rastas see him as God, you know what his answer to that question was? His answer was, people should not confuse man with deity. And that's one of the most powerful answers I've ever heard. And then there's so many levels to that. The simple level is, Haile Selassie is not God. Like, God is the concept that we have of God. His Majesty is in a different category, right? That's one level. Also, the same thing applies to Jesus. Christ is the deity. Christ is the Logos. Christ is the cosmic being, literally from the sun. Christ is the savior for the entire planet in terms of a cosmic being that is intimately involved with the evolution of all human beings, regardless of religion. This is a literal being, not just a fairy tale or a man who was born as God. No. Jesus now, or Yeshua, this is a human being that through previous incarnations prepared himself to be the vessel of Christ, the being, Christ, the deity, Christ, the spirit. So people should not confuse the man, Yeshua, with Christ. When we're talking about the whole shift that's happening over the last 2,000 years, we're talking about the influence of the being Christ. But Yeshua was the vessel. In a similar way, I view Haile Selassie as not necessarily the vessel of a deity, but to me, he's an example of the highest aspiration of human evolution on the planet. And yeah, we've heard different reports of gurus who have seen His Majesty and actually saw his aura and his spirit and knew that he was a great soul or a Mahatma.
I was going to bring that up because we interviewed Chester Higgins, world-renowned photographer, and he told me that he's has photos of everyone fighting. When I say everyone, I mean everyone. And he said the person with the strongest aura he's ever met is Selassie. There's another brother we did, Daryl Davis, who brought it up too, and he's been around JFK and other people.
Yeah, man.
And I think as time reveals, more stuff gets exposed. And another thing I want to touch on, which I find very unique that people don't really look at, is the impact. Put all the criticisms to the side, right? The impact of Rastafari on the world in a short time frame.
100%.
We're not looking at 30 years yet.
Huge.
I mean, sorry, not 30
yeah,
years. We're not looking at 100
years.
Yet. We're not looking at 100 years yet. And the
Huge,
impact, and
brother.
I think that people don't understand how long. First of all, the fact that something can be sustained for that time frame, and also how long it takes for things to develop to grow even bigger.
True.
Right, and I think that's one of the biggest. I'm kind of like an anthropologist on the low,
Yeah.
And I really studying the movement. It's actually pretty wild to see like the impact it's had on the world in such a short
space of time,
and not just culturally but spiritually, also health wise, even with eating and the whole.
I thought the whole
liberty,
vegan movement, all of these things.
And it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild when you think about it. you know.
Yeah, man, and it all's inspired by this great man, and to me, he also symbolizes an end of an era, the monarchic era, monarchic governments, divine kingships. I feel like him kind of seal off that era, and that was a very long era in our human history, and yeah, we're definitely in that time now of governments, and then that will be for a phase, and then we'll find another way to kind of govern ourselves. But yeah, man, His Majesty is a blueprint, man.
And the second part of the question was many times people speak about Freemasonry, right? But people really speak about Rosicrucians. Do you believe Haile Selassie was a Freemason or a Rosicrucian?
So after I started reading a Rosicrucian named Max Heindel, is after I read his books I realized that His Majesty was literally an initiate. You always kind of know, as Rasta, yeah, His Majesty are the highest, everything. You know that he has all of these titles and things. You know that he was born with this high level of wisdom and knowledge. But when it comes to the literal side of it now, when you hear His Majesty make certain speeches and the way he put him words together, that's definitely how initiates, Masonic, Rosicrucian, that's how they speak. There's certain way how them use them words and them speak from a global perspective at all times. It's always global, and it's always coming from a world view. Yeah, man, definitely, 100%.